So we took the van down, put it on the cat scales to see what it weighed. Now before we started the build, the van was 5,311 pounds. And let's show you what it weighed in at. Okay, so it weighed on the scale 7,920 pounds. The front axle was 3,600 pounds and the drive axle 4,320 pounds. So what that means is we added what we added with the build, but also 2 passengers, Kevin and I. Also, I had all the contents in here that I would have if I went on a trip, with the exception of I didn't have any food in the fridge. So that's, of course, the fridge will add weight. And then the bike wasn't in here. So with all that extra weight, the cargo weight and the build came to 2,609 pounds. We got that number by basically subtracting the 5,311 pounds from the 7,920 pounds that it weighed on the cat scale. So the added weight was 2,609 pounds. The payload on this is 3,682 pounds. So when you subtract that out, we have about 1,080 pounds we could still add to the van without maxing out its payload. Of course, we don't want to do that. We don't ever want to max out the payload on this. And one of the reasons for that is because we want the option to be able to, let's say we want to pull a trailer or a small camper behind this, you know, that's gonna work into how much we can actually tow. The other thing we did was we added a hitch receiver on the back, and I'll just let Kevin show you how that went.
I'm going to install a Class 3 hitch on the Ford Transit. The brand is Kurt, and it comes with everything you need. Comes with the bolts and nuts, and the install can be done with a simple ratchet and sockets. It does come with fish wires, but I don't think I'm going to need them because where this gets inserted, there's a frame opening and I can get my hand in there. So I think that'll be easy. I won't need the fish wires. This hitch has a 6,000 pound tow weight and a 900 pound hitch weight. I'm going to get started. I said I could get my hand in there, now I can't. I'm gonna go do the other side. These 4 bolts, with the 2 on each side, these 2 and the 2 on the other side are the ones that are going to be a little tough, because these, where they thread into, is not actually threaded, and the instructions say that this bolt will actually thread it as you put it in there. So we'll see how this goes. So I got one of them in, but these are a little more difficult to get in than just using a ratchet, at least for me anyway. Like I said, these inserts aren't threaded, and these bolts are supposed to cut their own threads in here, and I couldn't get it to do it. So I ended up using my impact drill, and that actually got it started. And then once I got it started, I was able to come back with the ratchet and tighten it up. So that's what I'm going to use. Hopefully it seems like everything's going to work fine like this. This ain't working, Cindy. Alright, so the first one I got threaded pretty easy using my impact drill. The next one doesn't seem to want to thread, and I really don't want to mess this bolt up. And then I was reading through the instructions, and at the very bottom it says, using a tap may make installation easier. So anyway, I ordered a tap. They tell you what size. It's an M12 with a 1.75 pitch. So I ordered that, but that's not going to be here for a few days. So when that gets here, I'll tap the inserts so these will thread in a lot easier. Just going to have to wait. So we got the tap delivered, and I've done 2 of them already, and it works really well. And all I did was I found a socket, 9mm, that this will fit in, and I'm attaching it to my ratchet, and I'm going to tap the last hole. So I got this back one tapped already. So now this bolt will thread right in, which is a lot easier than just trying to use the bolt itself to thread it. And I've got the back one to do, or this front one to do still. So I'll do that now. And the key is trying to keep it as straight as possible. When you first start out, it's a little rough, but then it'll straighten out. You just want to take your time, not try to force it too much. Alright, so that last one didn't go as easy as possible. I actually broke the tap off up in there. Fortunately, there was a little bit sticking out that I could get a pair of pliers on, but I had to take the hitch back off in order to reach it with the pliers. So I got the tap out. I got a new tap. I finished that one, so it's tapped now. All of them are tapped. One thing I wanted to mention is the bolts that come with these are not that great a quality. This is the one that I used to actually thread, use the bolt itself to thread up, which the instructions say you can do. And you can see how stripped that is. And when I took it out, I was able to torque it down, but when I loosened it and took it out, it almost basically fell out. So I don't think there was a whole lot there holding it. So I did buy some better quality bolts, and these are the ones I'm going to use. And I test fit them all, and they all thread up into my taps really well. It actually is a pretty easy install. If you have a Ford Transit and you want to install a hitch yourself, my suggestion would be to order a tap, and a good quality tap, not one that's going to break on you, but order a good quality tap at the time you order the hitch, and then tap all the holes before you start your install and get that set up and ready. But other than that, it actually is an easy install. I did use a little bit of red Loctite on these to make sure that they're going to hold. And then the instructions say to torque it to 110 pounds. So I got my torque wrench set to that. And there it's, right there's 110 when it clicks. Just going to check it. So that's good. And that's it. 15-minute install. That took me 2 days.
So today, Kevin's going to be installing a wiring harness. And what that'll do is allow us, if we do hook a camper or a trailer or something like that up to the van, the lights and everything will work on the back of it. While he's doing that, I'm going to be working on prepping this bulkhead wall. So I know a lot of you have probably been looking at this wall and thinking, why doesn't she do something with that? It's so plain. Well, I've had plans for it. I'm going to be putting another layer of paint on here, and then I'm going to be applying some artwork. I won't be doing the artwork today, but I will be getting it ready, hopefully, if the weather cooperates. We've got about 3 days of rain in the forecast. It's already started a little bit today. So if we don't finish it today, we'll be doing it next weekend, the harness and everything. But we're going to see what we can get done.
got the hitch installed, and now I'm going to work on installing the wiring harness for the trailer hookup. And this wiring harness was made by Kurt, and it has a converter box, and then it has basically plug and play where you remove the tail light on either side and you plug the one end into the tail light and the other end plugs into this, and we'll see how that goes. Okay, so now that I have the light assembly off, we want to disconnect this harness right here from the light, and there's a tab in the back behind it that you want to push in, and this should come off. Need two hands. There. Then we'll take our trailer harness, and this end's going to plug into here, and this other side will plug into the factory plug on the light. But before I do that, I need to loosen up this bumper cover right here so I can get access to there, and I'm going to feed these wires into the bottom up through the bumper and through this bracket right here, so we can connect it to the light, and then we'll be able to put the light assembly and everything back on. So right up through here is where I'm going to feed these wires through. Okay, with Cindy's help, we got these connectors fed up through from the bottom of the bumper, from underneath the van. And then we also have the ground wire that we're going to attach right here with a self-tapping screw that they provided. Okay, so the ground's connected, and now I can connect the harness to the van. So this connection is going to plug into here, and make sure it clips and it's nice and tight. And then this other end here is going to go into the light assembly. And you heard that click. So that's ready. So now this we can put back together. Okay, so this black wire right here is going to give power to the system. That I need to run up to the front of the van. This green wire is the one that's going to go over to the other side, to the other light, and connect in the same way that the one on this side did. And then these wires here are what's going to plug to the trailer. And what I have to do now is just run the green wire under the van over to the other side and get it zip tied up and tucked away. Alright, so I've got the green wire for the passenger side of the vehicle ran underneath the bumper, all zip tied up, and I've got it running through this bumper cover. And now I just need to remove this light assembly and hook it up the same way I did the other side. Alright, so I got everything back here done at the back. So the next thing I'm going to do is hook up the power wire that I showed you earlier, run that underneath the van, and get it to the front where I'm going to connect it to the battery. And this wire that I'm using to run up to the front, they provided with the wiring harness kit. So this came with the kit when you buy it. So they also give you these standard butt connectors with the kit, but I went ahead and used this heat shrink connector because I think it's going to give a little better protection. So I'm going to go ahead and heat shrink that now. Okay, so I'm also going to add a little bit of electrical tape for some added protection. Alright, now I'm going to run this wire up to the front. Alright, you can see up here where along the frame they already have a wire loom and some stuff running down through there. That's basically where I'm going to try to run this thing, is right along that same wire loom. Alright, so I got this power wire coming up from the back, and where it's going to connect is, let me take this off. It's going to connect to this terminal right here. But before I do that, I need to hook an inline fuse, a 10 amp fuse, to this line, and then that'll connect to this. And then the install will be complete, and we'll be ready to hook up a trailer and test the lights and see if it works. Alright, so I want to mount this inline fuse somewhere in here, and that'll give me enough room to connect to that. So I'm going to trim this wire back a little bit and then connect it to this butt connector. Now the kit gives you everything you need to make these connections. I swapped them out for the heat shrink connections. I like them a little bit better. They provide a little more moisture protection, so that's why I'm using those. And it gives you the inline fuse also with a 10 amp. I'm just trying to get it worked out where I want to put this exactly. I think that's going to work right there pretty well. So that's pretty much it. That completes the install. Everything should be ready, and we can test it now and make sure it all works.
So I finished putting a base coat, a second base coat, on the bulkhead wall. I know it doesn't look much different to you guys, but it's mainly just to serve as a base coat, like I said. And this scuffing, I wasn't too worried about covering it, because what I'm going to do is sort of blend it into the design that I put on the wall, because I know it's going to continue scuffing in the future. It's from sliding this door back and forth. And so what I'm going to do is kind of, in the design, give the illusion that it's part of the design. You'll see that on down the road in the future. Kevin just has to test the wiring harness now. He's going to hook up the trailer and test it and see if that works okay. So we're going to test the lights now. Kevin's about to turn the ignition on in the van, and we'll see if these work. Okay, there's the tail lights. Hope you guys can see that. Okay, there's the driver's side blinker. And the passenger side blinker. And there's the brake lights. Looks like it's all working. So that project's done. I hope you liked this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. Also, if you haven't subscribed already, I hope you'll consider subscribing. It really helps my channel grow when you do so. If you like watching the van conversion, I have a playlist that shows what we've done so far, all the way from beginning to today. This one will go in there next. Anyway, I'll see you next week. Thanks for watching.